It's always a pleasure to be in your company, and it's also a pleasure, even more of a pleasure, for me to be here with you this morning on this broadcast.
Well, thank you. You honor us with your presence. So, Judge Young, for the viewers who may not know exactly what you do, some people know who you are, but they don't know exactly what you do. Can you explain to them what you do in your position?
Certainly. I am actually an elected county court judge. My jurisdiction is throughout the city of Meridian and Lauderdale County. Within that position, I preside over county court as well as youth court. So I spend 1 week in youth court, and then I spend another week in county court. Along with those duties, I also started the first drug court here in Lauderdale County. So I also preside over the adult drug court here.
Let me jump right in this and ask this question. I noticed here in our Meridian public school system that they have what is known as a zero tolerance policy. Tell me, how is that working?
I don't know how it's working in the eyes of the Meridian Public School District, but the majority of the community feels like it's not working.
And why is that?
Well, research just shows that we all are going to do things that we shouldn't necessarily do and say things that we should not necessarily say. However, we all need an opportunity to make those things good. I believe in in-school suspensions. I believe in after-school punishments, before-school punishments. I believe in consequences. And to me, giving people the easy way out by kicking them out of school is not punishment. It is punishment for the community, because that takes away the opportunity for that young person to learn and to grow and be the person that they need to be to provide not only for themselves but for their family and have a bright future.
So once little Johnny is kicked out of school, is there anything that the district has in place to help them where they're out, so that when they do come back, that they will not be so far behind? Or are they just wandering the streets when they're kicked out of school?
Now, Reverend Johnson, I'm not an employee of the Meridian Public School District, but to my knowledge, I want to make sure I put that in there. I don't represent them or know their exact policies and rules and regulations, but I am familiar with a program called the MAC program. That is an acronym for Making a Change. The Making a Change program is supposed to be a program that keeps children involved in the academic process. It is a program that has been a collaborative effort from a lot of different agencies in this community. But the agency that really stepped up to the plate was Wings. Wings put up a lot of money and a building. The Meridian Public School System stepped up and gave a teacher, but different facets of the community came together to kind of make this program happen. Now, the downside of the program is it's just started, so we don't know how successful it will be yet.
Okay.
Statistics have not been able to be gathered on that yet. And the other downside is that they have a very limited capacity, somewhere less than 25 students.
So, so this program may be new to this community, but it is not necessarily a new program. Am I correct?
Well, I don't know, because I can't tell you exactly what principles they base it on. But getting back to your zero tolerance, I can tell you that the numbers are in on that. Zero tolerance doesn't work. There is a judge in Georgia by the name of Judge Stephen Teskey, and there is a judge in Birmingham, Alabama by the name of Brian Huff, who have done extensive research, and they lecture all over the country on zero tolerance. So it's interesting that you should ask me that. I've had the privilege of sitting in on several of those lectures, and the information that they give is just phenomenal. But they give you all the reasons to know that that does not work. I also took that a step further.
Okay.
I made a personal phone call to central office, and I invited our superintendent to come and bring some representatives to come and hear Judge Brian Huff speak on this very topic. it was somewhat embarrassing for the community because we were a part of his lecture as what not to do. The school district brought a representative from the school district, Dr. Amy Carter. The superintendent was there, as well as one of the school board members, Michael Van Veckhoven. I went, and we also had Mr. Terrence Davis from Here Go. Great information. Having information is only half the battle, though. We got to use it.
So with all the information that we received, and of course you do not represent the school system in any shape, form, or fashion, but with all the information that we received during this time that they were here, I'm just wondering, and I don't know whether you know or not, if anything was implemented to change the course that we were on, which may have been not so prosperous, to a more prosperous course for our district and for our youth.
I cannot say. I know the MAC program was implemented after that, but I think it was actually in the works before that. This was a seminar that was held up in the Delta. One of my fellow youth court judges had him as a visiting speaker in her community, and we all traveled there to listen. But it's never too late to implement things. Every day is a fresh start and a new beginning, and that's what we've got to keep instilling in our children. And I don't want it to seem like we're pouncing just on the youth court. I mean, on the school system, but yes, with the youth court, I mean, there are a lot of things that we could change and ways that we could grow as a community within the youth court system. And I say that because I've changed things that I was doing, because I just feel like if it doesn't work and I keep doing it, that's the perfect definition of insanity.
Yes, it is.
So I certainly don't want to be practicing insane methods, but things have to be tweaked. Even in your households, you have an older child, one thing might have worked for them that does not work for a younger child. So we constantly have to work on improving ourselves. And that's with the church, that's with the school system, that's with the youth court, that's with parenting, that's with being a child. We all have to just keep improving ourselves and working on it. We're a work in progress.
Definitely under construction. I know I am. So what do you see for the future of the youth here in Meridian? And what are you going to do? Well, I don't know if I should form that question like that, saying what are you going to do? But is there some things that the youth court are planning to maybe implement in the future to help the youth here?
I can't necessarily speak for the youth court because in that capacity I am somewhat limited in what I can do on state time. But as an individual who is a member of this community, I certainly plan to do everything that I can do to assist this community in bringing our young people up to a new standard. First of all, we have to let them know that there is a standard. I have a friend who constantly is talking about how people want to tell young men to man up.
Yeah.
And his motto right now is that we've got to teach them how to be a man before we tell them to man up. And I like that concept because we're all born green, so to speak. We don't know anything. We're fresh. And until we are taught something or it is instilled in us, we cannot practice that. So I'd like to encourage everyone to do what they can with the young people and just take 5 young people under your wing in any manner, shape, form, or fashion that you can. Don't preach down to them. Don't look down on them, but talk with them. Listen, more importantly, to them, and also meet them where they are. Don't meet them on your turf or my turf. We got to meet them where they are and see what we can do to help them make it through.
You know, from my vantage point as a pastor, I've recognized that within the church, it's a lot of that talking down and saying, you must do this and you must do that, but not really giving them a roadmap. I know we had this thing, oh God, I got to remember the name of it now, but it's sort of like a almost like a boys to men or a coming of age. I'm trying to say a few things to get it correctly out, but I believe that within the church we have to get back to helping to teach and train and say, hey, this is how you do this and this is how you do that. I didn't know how to pay bills when I got out on my own because no one had ever showed me how. I grew up, but I was never raised up. So that's something I talk to the young men at church about, how to pay bills, how to make a budget. And if we don't talk to them about how to have life skills, then when they get out on their own and they don't have any, we say, well, you're a certain age, you should know, because even though we know that the Bible says, train up a child in the way it should go. And when they get older, they should not depart from it. But if there's no training in the way they should go, then once they get older and they go astray, we cannot fault them for having gone astray if we never trained them in what way to go.
I certainly agree with you, and that is one aspect that my drug court has that no other drug court that I know of in the country has. I require life skill training. I have comprised a list of different life skills, and we all make sure that we perfect those. The things that they've done thus far is they've had to learn how to tie a tie. There's a lot of young men who are grown young men who don't know how to tie a tie. There are a lot of single mothers like myself who have male children who need to know how to tie a tie. Everyone in my drug court now knows how to tie a tie and knows how to tie a bow tie. Everyone in my drug court knows table etiquette, which fork to use. They've had a multi-course meal. Everyone in my drug court right now knows how to balance a checkbook and write a check. Basic life skills like that get us a long way in life. We also have met at the Meridian Public Library because they are required to have a library card. And sometimes I require them to check out books and do book reports on those books. Basic life skills are everything. I'll take those any day over just an education, so to speak. That would be a great education, life skills.
Wow. It would almost seem as if we need to just have maybe a life skills program here within this community.
Back to the basics.
I know a long time ago, I can't remember, Ida Brown's mother used to have some type of etiquette school here. I think a long time ago she told me about it. And I think that would be a great idea for someone who has the time, who has the skills. If you would maybe volunteer some of your time to help teach some of the youth in this community, maybe some of the, even the grown folk in this community, some life skills. But I want to thank you, Judge Young, for your time. Is there anything else you would like to add that we did not discuss?
The only thing I'd like to say is that I don't focus on the past. I like to focus on the future, and I feel like Meridian's future is bright. When I look at the history of Birmingham as far as their civil rights history, and I contrast that or compare that to the civil rights history here in Meridian, it's very similar. And we would expect that because we're both southern cities. But also the academic path that they've taken in the last few years has been very, very similar to Meridian's. The powers to be have really come down hard on the Birmingham school system. They've made a complete 360. I'm challenging our school system to do the same thing. The youth court in Birmingham has done a complete 360. I'm challenging our youth court to do the same thing. The mentality of the community as a whole, the citizens, the police, professionals, everybody within the community in Birmingham has been a 360 turn. If they can turn 360 degrees, we certainly can. I'm encouraging people not to give up hope. Don't be afraid. Embrace someone. Teach someone. Show someone a better way.
Amen. Thank you, Judge Young. You're an inspiration and a motivation to this community, to myself, and I believe with individuals such as yourself within this community, change will happen, and it won't be long. We thank you for tuning in once again. I'm Pastor Jerry Johnson, Judge Veldora Young. God bless you.